Welcome to the Franchise Woman Podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zorakle Profiles. Zorakle provides profiling tools to franchisors and franchise brokers to help facilitate a right fit between a prospective franchisee and a franchise concept. You might notice that Tracy Cowa, my co-host, is not with us today, and that's because these two guests were available immediately, and I didn't want to pass up an opportunity. You're going to love them. Our guests today are the dynamic girl duo behind Jane Do, former Radio City Rockettes, Jacey Lambros and Danielle, or Danny DeAngelo. Jane Do, a rapid growing fitness franchise, is not only helping its clients, it's also giving women a leg up in the fitness industry by providing them with career opportunities as franchise owners and instructors. Founded with a mission to cultivate strength, confidence, and camaraderie, Jane Do has transcended the traditional boundaries of a workout studio to become a movement that champions women's wellness in every aspect, from every client that walks through the door to every owner, operator, and trainer. I'm so glad you guys were available today. So thanks for carving out time.
Thank you so much for that intro.
Leg up. I love it.
I wore pink, ladies, on behalf of you guys, you know. I hope I'm not all walking out from all this brightness.
It's our signature color. Do you have your long nails on for your Jersey girls?
I don't. I didn't have enough time to do it, but next time I have you on, we'll do that. I love it. Okay, I'm curious. I understand you guys met while you were Rockettes, but tell me that whole story of being Rockettes, how you built this friendship, and obviously then the next question is, how the heck did you get into franchising?
So JC and I met dancing with the Radio City Rockettes. We did it for a combined 17 years. And what we loved best about Dancing with the Rockettes was what a group of women with a unified mission and purpose, when they come together, just really what they can achieve. So JC and myself, about 10 years ago now, opened our very first location, Jane Do in Jersey City. And we have, been operating our studios for, like I said, about 10 years now. And we just became a franchise at the end of last year, 2023.
And just to add a little more, shed a little more light onto the Rockette experience and the growth of our friendship. At Radio City, there are 40 girls that dance at a time in a cast, and there's 2 casts in New York. And the placement of where you are on stage is determined by your height. Now, typically, you are very close friends with the women who are closest to your height range, because that's who you spend most of your day. And let's be honest, we spent most of those 17 years with. And outside of being close to the women of your own height, which Danny and I are, we also shared a dressing room. So there were 8 women to each dressing room. And that's, who you share all the ridiculous time with before and after shows. And so Danny and I got to know each other very well during that time. And I made a career transition through Rockettes during my time at Rockettes to become a trainer in all different facets of physical training. And I decided that I was going to make a career transition to fitness. Danny had at the time moved to Chicago post Rockette career. She left on her own terms as well and decided to pursue real estate. And I got wind that she was coming home, and I worked on a business plan for about a year. And I knew that as soon as she stepped back into New Jersey, I was going to pursue her, because there is nobody I'd want to partner with who has the opposite strengths than Danny DeAngelo.
Thanks, Jace.
Let me talk about that, though, Danny, because she knew to target you, that you complimented her. You already had this beautiful friendship that had developed over all these years. What is it you saw in JC that complimented you? What is it you go, I'm in. This is a great idea. Better yet, we're the right people to do it together.
So Jacey presented her business plan to me, and I knew she had been working on it for a very long time. She came with all the fitness experience, certifications, and, just a plethora of education and knowledge about what it took to teach a fitness class. She took all the things that she learned that she liked, aspects that she didn't necessarily love. And you always try to improve it as you create your own business and your own models. And for me, working with Jacey is more of the marketing, creative, and it's definitely a skill set that I don't have. I oversee more of the operations. I oversee more of the accounting, the legal. So pairing us together, it really, and you know what? I love having a business partner. I know some people do not recommend it. After 10 years, Jacey and I, if nothing else, that is the success story, that we still are friends. Friends first, business partners second. And we always prioritize our relationship because that is very, very important. And as business owners, it's not just about celebrating the good times, but you're also going to have some challenging and difficult times. And, you will fight, you will be on opposite sides, you will have disagreements, and it's always about learning how to overcome those challenging conversations that is going to make a really strong partnership. And Jacey and I have a trick to overcoming some of these DIFCONs, as we call them, difficult conversations. And at the end of the day, it really is about respecting each other.
Wow. So, JC, friends first, business next. We're on the same team. When we have opposite perspectives, because one's left brain, one's right brain, one's this, one's that. So we're not going to see the world the same way. How do you approach a challenge? Because every business has challenges. Talk about those difficult conversations and how you come together and you solve those problems.
Sure. And of course, we've kind of learned this the hard way through, less graceful experiences. So what we've learned is that, number one, when we feel passionate about something, we both honor that. We honor each person's opinion. The first thing we do is we schedule a meeting. And we ensure that the other person knows exactly what the meeting is going to be about. We hear each other out through and through, and we continue the conversation until we both, come to a solution. Usually one of us has to give a little, the other has to take, there's a give and a take, but we have also a phrase, if one of us says, I feel strongly about that, and the other one's kind of like on the fence, it means, okay, I trust you, we're going to move forward with this. You clearly, have an opinion, and we typically honor that. There was some other rule to our DIFCONs that now I'm forgetting, because now it's just.
I got you.
Yeah.
So we schedule it. We usually like to have the conversations at a separate location. So it's not in the studio. It's normally at a bar, to be totally honest. So just somewhere that's neutral, and we won't leave until there's a resolution. It is important not to leave this festering, because we have to interact with each other every single day. And if there's any sort of, just anxiety or discomfort or any sort of feeling that's not going to help to productivity, we want to make sure that we can get everything on the table and move forward from it.
You ladies could really teach a course in partnerships. I've had various partnerships over the years, and I'm one of those people here, being transparent, that will sweep things under the rug, right? Which what you're saying is not what we want to do. It is to have those radical conversations, those problem-solving conversations with honor and with respect. And if someone has a strong position, as you pointed out, Jacey, then we defer. Right? Sometimes we have to defer that this is super important to us. how do you think this beautiful friendship and this strategy of communication and conflict management that you have, how do you think it is affecting your business? Is it creating a culture by just simply being this way? Is it making us more productive? Tell me a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I think what we've learned is that having a very healthy system for communication, having a very clear understanding of accountability, who's accountable for what, and having like very clear visibility across our entire staff. Those are all things we've learned from being a business partner and overcoming challenges, and those are all useful tools that we've integrated into our systems and our daily processes at Jane Do at all of our locations, and it's led to the great success of our culture.
It also, it's almost like when you see your parents fighting and it just affects the entire family and disrupts everyone. So by Jacey and myself having a strong foundation and a strong means of communication, even if Jacey and I, do have differing opinions, the team is confident that it doesn't mean there's going to be this crumble. We would never, we love each other through and through, friends first, and they know that we're going to be able to work through it. We've also learned a lot about, you hear about the love languages, right? There's also different work styles, and people give and receive information differently.
Mhm.
And whether it's, feedback or criticism or compliments, we have also learned how to effectively, give and receive information, because Jacey and I most certainly give and receive it to each other differently,
Yeah.
but also our team members.
Now you're talking my language, Danny. I'm in the profiling business, so now you're talking my language, because people are fascinating. How we think, how we communicate, how we relate, how we build businesses. And the two of you, having had many years of working together, had some understanding of that. But this is different when you're building a business, and the actual structure of it and the growing of it requires some very tough conversations and to make sure we're all on the same page. So you had to learn JC's love language, you had to learn yours. I know that sounds weird to talk about love languages in business, but I'm a big believer it's the same, right? The number one thing is that we're on the same page, and we're going to get where we're going to go, kind of thing. So this is very admirable, guys. I'm impressed with the both of you.
Please, thank you. I'm humbled. Coming from you.
I swear, girls, you really should think about a book or a course or something, because partnerships are not easy. And Danny, your example of a parent, even if the parents are in disagreement, the children feel safer and loved and not in that mess if the parents are on the same page and having those difficult conversations. And it's a feeling that your employees are going to feel, your clients are going to feel. So you've created this harmonious environment, which, by the way, when I see the Rockettes, is that synchronicity and that harmony is what I think about. And the two of you have seemed to taken that into this business. Amazing. All right, wild card question to both of you. When you look at the past, can you see some kind of a theme in your life?
Yes. I can say for me, it is the coming together of women, the uniting of women to achieve incredible things. The power of not just sisterhood, but it's the community.
Mm-hmm.
From being on sports team, and my dad was a college basketball coach, to NBA dance teams, the Rockettes, and now Jane Do, we're fostering that same sense of camaraderie. It's this theme of I don't know, just women that are like-minded, pursuing a similar cause.
Yeah. Yeah. Whether it's the Rockettes and putting out a beautiful show, or running a business, running a studio. I love that theme in your life, Casey. How about you, Danny? What kind of theme seems to show up through your life?
So for me, it's that there is no substitution for hard work. So hard work has been instilled and ingrained in both Jacey and myself since we were young. Jacey's mom was a telephone operator. My mom was a waitress. And we watched our parents, our parents, but our mom specifically, you know, just really just worked so hard and really selfless, our parents, both of them, and gave us so much. So now through what we do, it's all through hard work, through dedication, through perseverance. And with hard work does come sacrifice. You know, there are some things I know growing up, you don't just appear on the great stage of Radio City. A brand isn't just built. A franchise doesn't just, become a franchise. It's all through, again, dedication, hard work, perseverance, being consistent. And during high school, college, I for sure missed a lot of things that were happening because I was going to dance classes because I had rehearsal. So I didn't miss out on things because I knew what the end goal was. And I knew where I wanted to be, and I knew what it would take to get there. And it's similar with business too. If you know where you want to be, you may have to make some sacrifices, but the outcome is going to be so much more rewarding. And once you get there, no one will ever be able to take that away from you because it becomes part of who you are.
Indeed. I'm combining these two philosophies that both of you have, or themes that you have about community, women coming together, working together. And then Danny, your philosophy, actually both of you, your philosophy of hard work, but to do it together is the part that's just amazing to me. So share with me how, when these two things collided, these two very distinct themes you have, some of which spills over on both of you, how did that turn into Jane Do?
I think for me, Jane Do fulfills that void of, that camaraderie. And it also satiates for me that performance void because, we were still able to be in front of a group of women, empowering them, making them feel good as we were before on the great stage, and prior. So for me, that was kind of the uniting element to, that theme throughout my life and Jane Do.
And I think the hard work as far as opening a business, I don't want to say it's obvious, but we can point out the obvious things. As far as it relates to our Janes, showing up every single day is hard. Having a community that supports you helps you get through all the challenges in your life. And it's almost like when those things come together, that is the Jane Do magic, right? We aren't talking about just inches and pounds lost. That's a byproduct. The stories that we're hearing are about women who have crossed finish lines, women who have asked for a raise, women who have blown the dust off of lingerie because they now have the confidence to wear it. We are talking about so much more than just, physical physical wellness. Jacey and I have 4 pillars. Jacey, you want to say them?
I want to hear.
Go for it. Well, I think
it's the 4, it's what we think makes up and creates the most confident version of a woman. You have to have these 4 things: physical confidence, sexual confidence, financial confidence, and emotional confidence. And those 4 things are what is immersed and ingrained in the Jane Do culture, because we are talking about it all the time. And they're not, similar to love languages, they're not always all going to be full. But when we have a balance of them, that's what's going to create the confidence for us.
Yeah. And Rebecca, you nailed it in our intro. It made me so happy. But we're fostering a movement that transcends the studio walls and encouraging women to Danny's point, claim their power in every aspect of their lives.
That's just beautiful. This whole conversation around confidence is amazing to me because I don't think we're born with it. I think it's something we can develop. And I think some of it, and it's just my belief, ladies, this is your mission. So speak to it, please. I think for me, when I'm part of a community and I have someone that believes in me, that gives me a pump of energy, a pump of confidence. And then it has me take risks or do things that I may not done on my own, right? Would you guys agree? And is that part of this whole process?
I think that's part of confidence and, our idea that confidence comes from doing. To Danny and myself, we define the sexiest quality of a woman being her confidence. I do think you can be born with it, but I also think it can be self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
I think how most women get there and how we're trying to flip the script is to allow women to, throw away the conversation around inches or pounds and start to define your own personal success by how you feel. Right. And then to Danny's point, instead of being like, I lost 5 pounds, you can be like, I asked for a raise, and that allows you the ability to get out of your head, really get into your body in every sense, and gain the confidence that you deserve.
Rebecca, I agree. I think when people say be more confident, it's loaded. You can't just be more confident. You have to work at confidence. It is the outcome. And Jace, yeah, for sure. I agree. Some people are definitely born with more of it than others. But it is, when we think about when we are the most confident versions of ourselves, it's because we've either practiced, right? When you practice over and over again, you're walking in there and you know it. When you're educated, right? And you have all that information and those tools in your back pocket, you're like, I've got this. So we're constantly having to work at what it is. And I do think it's a moving target there, because some days we're going to feel confident and you wake up the next day, especially as women, and we're like, I thought I had that yesterday, and today I ain't got it.
Not so much, right?
Not so much.
Not so much.
I think it fluctuates with ages, stages, and fitness levels.
Yes,
Like
yes.
a constant quest to define our new, measure of self-confidence. But it's ultimately how you feel, and you can control that.
You can control it. You can influence it by putting in the hard work, right? Because the more we do, the more confident we come. It's really interesting because the first thought that hit me was when we think about emotional and social intelligence, one of the markers is self-confidence. And I only bring that up because that means it's a muscle, it's a skill, it's something we can get better at. Even if we have low self-confidence, we can gain more because it is a skill with hard work and input and whatever else needs to be done. We can grow in our confidence in those 4 areas that you talked about.
And maybe it doesn't need to be this overall umbrella of like, I have self-confidence. That almost feels too big and overwhelming. We can be confident in one aspect of our life and maybe not in another. And that's something that we can work on. So it might be too big to say yes or no today. And if we isolate it, it may give us the confidence to work on the other areas.
I do think it spills over. I think you're right. I think it spills over. If I'm financially confident, I could see where that could spill over into some of the areas of confidence, the sexual confidence that you were talking about, or it frees me up to work on that particular area more, and vice versa. If I'm confident in one area, that same muscle I can then build through equally hard work in one of the other 4 areas that you mentioned.
And Rebecca, you said earlier about the community helping build confidence, because we see it in our classes. It is so scary to walk into a fitness studio. We're doing step aerobics, we are doing trampoline, we are doing dance cardio. We also have 2 other strength training classes, but specifically the dance, the tramp, and the step. People will come in and feel, either intimidated, or this isn't for me, or I can't do this.
Mhm.
And when you walk into a Jane Do class, it's the community that says, my first class, I just stood there. It doesn't matter. No one is judging you. You showed up, and that is what is important. And we see, not just in the class, you will see in that one class a physical transformation in people, because they will walk out with their chin a little higher, their shoulders pulled a little bit further back. And in that moment, it's the baby steps, right? Because the next time they come, you're that much further ahead. So even if you stumble, fall, get up, you're not back at your starting point. There's a new starting point for you. And when you can continue to build on that, that's when the growth really happens. And it's not just the physical, because yes, you will get stronger and more confident in taking a trampoline class, but something shifts mentally in your mind. And then you take that into the real world. And then you're like, oh, well, what else can I do with this? If I can get through that, then what else can I do?
And JC's shaking her head going, yep, that's it.
I was
Exclamation.
going to say something similar. Like, you nailed it. You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, you really did. So I might go to a Jane Do initially because of the sense of community, right? And being part of that community, I take a baby step, which then strengthens my whatever inside, my will or my discipline or my whatever, to then take another step and take another step. So I may not come in confident. In fact, maybe quite the opposite. But the community is a lot of what's drawing me in, and I'm and others going, hey, I used to be where you are, and hard work and commitment and all of those things has got me to another place in this area of my life. And so I love
We
your
also say, come for the class, stay for the community. So a lot of women, conversely, come for the class and end up staying with us because of this empowering community that they're now surrounded by.
so
Safe
it
and
could go
supported.
either the chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah.
Could be both. You just want to feel safe and supported.
Yeah. This is a fabulous conversation, ladies. I do want to ask kind of about some life lessons you've had, one of which you've already shared, which is this incredible communication skill for difficult conversations, radical conversations, problem-solving conversations. But when you look back on your life, each of you, can you see kind of a pivotal moment in your life? Maybe it was a book you read, a piece of advice you got, a thing that happened that kind of made you look at the world differently and led you to where you are.
Mine was when I was selling real estate and I moved back from Chicago. I love people, but I love dancing. And real estate is also very sexy. It's a passion of mine. I still, enjoy it, but I was missing, what my passion is. And it really is dance.
Dance.
And also performing and being an instructor. We get to do that. It's like a mini performance every single class. And when I came home and I took Jacey's class, I was inspired again. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it has continued to shift and evolve into, something much larger than I think even both of us ever, thought it would be. But that was the pivotal moment, that first class with Jace.
Wow. Wow.
I think I've had a few, breakthrough moments. For me, I think the most pivotal in leading me down this path of entrepreneurship is, I worked for so many different brands, and I did, gain a lot of confidence from that endeavor, which has helped. But I think for me, none of the fitness brands that I was working for or representing were purpose driven. And for me, I just realizing the importance of working for a greater reason, for having a real, intention behind what we're doing, was pivotal for me. I remember being in my last job before I started writing my business plan, and I was like, God, this really stands for nothing. I need to be part of something bigger. And, that's exactly what the plan was all about.
And that's also what the show is about. You both knew kind of deep down intuitively there was more, right? Call it purpose, call it passion, right? You guys kind of combined it. You had a passion for dance. You loved real estate, but dance was definitely more of a passion. And JC, for you, it was, there's got to be something bigger than just building muscles or just making money or whatever the others were, and how the two of you have really come together to collide these two beautiful things to create a very, very interesting fitness concept with Jane Do. What about the future? What does that look like for Jane Do? What are you guys up to? How are these things going to evolve? What are we going to see out of you guys?
So I think as we look towards the future, our vision for Jane Do is one of continued growth, yes, but not just in the number of studios, but in the real depth of our community's impact. We want to empower women to empower women. We've seen what happens when women collide, in unison. It creates a movement, and that movement is powerful. So
Yeah.
On our mission to create the largest community of the most confident women, we know the fastest way to get there and the most impactful way to get there is through providing careers for women through these franchise opportunities.
I agree. 30 years in franchising, I agree. There's nothing better.
I think we agree.
Which kind of goes with that financial confidence that you were talking about earlier. That's a platform that we can jump off of once we have that in place. What do you see for the future, Danny?
I think Jacey said it beautifully. I'm excited to, we've been able to build our community through our Janes. I'm excited to build the community through, female entrepreneurs and leaders, and continue to learn and grow together, because we are going to be expanding our community at the franchise level. So it just means, growth. And the more people we talk to, the more we learn from, the more we can continue to do.
We're all about that do.
I also just have to say one more thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think for me, it's as a new mom, I think being able to show my daughter and little girls everywhere and, women everywhere, that their potential is boundless. And if we can do it, anybody can Jane do it.
Jane Do It. Name is so fabulous. The thing that I want to say to prospective franchisees, folks considering a business, and the Jane Do experiences, you guys have been doing this 10 years. This isn't a fad. This isn't just a crazy idea. You've been doing it. You got things, figured out. All you're doing now is making it available for others to do it in their own cities and their own communities. So that says a lot about your commitment to the mission, right? Which is to help others build confidence, of course. So it says a lot about your mission, because being a franchisor, it's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal to then support others to do what you've been doing. We're about at the top of the hour, so I want to make sure I don't forget to ask, how do people get hold of you if they want to learn more about the Jane Do system.
Sure. So you can go to janedo.com and learn all about what we do and our franchise opportunities. Our Instagram handle is @JaneDo. Remember, she's alive. It's JANEDO. A lot of people say Jane Doe. She's thriving. Her heart is beating.
She's a doer. A doer. All right. I gotta ask, is there a story behind Jane Do? How did that name come about?
Well, the idea is that Jane is every woman and do is her call to action. And to my point earlier, we really wanted a name that stood for something. And actually, I can tell you about the history of the name prior, because Danny and I had to flip our couches over to find coins to open our first location. And at the time, 10 years ago, bar fitness was really hot. And we knew that if we put the word bar in the name, we could leverage that. And so we opened as the sports bar, knowing very well that we were planning to transition to a name with purpose. But the idea behind sports bar was sports was the athlete and bar was the dancer. And we were fusing, those two elements, fitness and, the rhythmic component of dance. Anyway. So we did just that. We opened as a sports bar 1 year to that date. We changed the name once, we had butts and seats, and it's been Jane Do ever since.
Wow. Well, it's going to be
Some people ask us if the J and the D are Jacey and Danny. And
oh, yeah.
people, there's a lot in a name, but we wanted a name, to Jacey's point, that we can continue to grow with. So we did not put our own names in it, because it is not about us. It is about every woman, every person, every human. And we also wanted a name that we can grow with. So as the brand continues to grow and evolve, that, what we do can continue to grow and evolve.
Yeah. And you're talking to the Jane. You're talking to the me, right? Kind of thing. Ladies, we could talk forever about this, but we are at top hour and I only schedule you guys for an hour. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your hearts, your vision, the power of this relationship that you have created. I can see some women getting involved that are going to benefit from just watching you two, literally just watching this beautiful relationship that you have. Friendship first, business second. Doesn't get any better than that. So thank you both for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you
for having us.
And to those of you listening in today to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, you just saw a great example of that with Danny and Jacey. Make sure you share, make sure to comment with folks that can benefit from what's being learned right here. And of course, we'll see you next week on another episode of the Franchise Woman podcast.